Hi everyone, I can't believe it's been 5 years since I took the AP Art Drawing exam and fortunately got a top score of 5. And even though it's been a while since then, much of the exam's content and structure have remained very similar. So after 5 years, I thought I'd share my AP Art Drawing portfolio to hopefully inspire you in your own process and also to look back on some of my old art. I'll be making another video soon with tips on building a top scoring portfolio and also going over some new policies from College Board. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And now let's get into my portfolio. So for a bit of context, the theme I decided to go with was an exploration of nostalgia and the bittersweet process of leaving childhood and growing up, which I tried to stick to in every piece, but definitely explored the theme more abstractly in some than others. So the first piece in my portfolio is this 9x12 mixed media painting titled Beauty in Entropy. And for this one, I mainly used watercolor, gel pen, and colored pencils, and really tried to focus in on the details, especially the eyes, the color of the skin, and the cherry blossoms. And if you can't tell, I used Taehyung from BTS as a reference, and as the title suggests, I wanted to convey the delicate beauty of ephemerality, hence the cherry blossoms blowing away in the wind, and a somewhat somber yet satisfied look in his eyes. Also, of course, the butterfly as a motif of the ephemeral stages of life that are meant to change and transition. So the next piece is a 12x9 mixed media titled Bittersweet. This time I used grapefruits to explore the bittersweet process of transitioning into a new chapter of life. Back then, I thought I was being subtle by sneaking in K-pop idols, and I definitely was not being subtle, but I still got a 5, so I guess it worked. This is supposed to be Ryujin from ITZY, but I definitely could have done a better job getting her features right. Next is a 9x12 mixed media titled Best Friend. I wanted to throw this one in there because I love dogs, and I chose Jimin from BTS for his soft features. The background for this one is probably one of my least favorites just because I could have done something more creative than these weird block gradients, but it was different than the others and so it stood out in that way. This next one is a 12x9 mixed media titled Lilypads, and I pretty much use the exact same tools as the previous ones. I was mainly inspired by the saying, "No mud, no lotus." And for this one, my reference was IU. I wanted to create kind of a empty or kind of like a look of realization that the hardships that we go through are building us slowly and shaping who we are. Next is the first self-portrait of the portfolio titled Tea Party, and it's a 12x9 mixed media once again, but this time I experimented with more texture by using acrylic paint and watercolor together and then filling in the details with colored pencil. This was definitely a style change up from the other ones, and I wanted to go outside of the box in a way and show a different side of my technical skills, and definitely focused a lot on the clothes and the ruffles and just wanted to show my ability to pay attention to the details. Next is a 12x13 mixed media titled Cracking Gold. And in this one, I really just wanted to play with gold foil right here and really tried to focus in on the details, like all of the strands of hair and the skin cracking like a statue. This is supposed to be Jisoo from Blackpink, and I thought the colors worked out really well together in the end. And I'm not really sure what this candle flower is meant to be, but once again, I wanted to convey the beauty in growth and change, which often arises out of a fragmentation of our old beliefs and old self. So for this next piece, I don't currently have it in my possession, but it is a 12x12 mixed medium using acrylic paint, embroidery thread, and fake rose petals. This one was definitely a lot more experimental and definitely a lot more abstract, and I think I just wanted to have an excuse to do acrylic pour painting. I thought the addition of the embroidery thread was really cool in the canvas, and it almost added an effect of pulling the paint in different directions. So this next one is called Coastal Stroll, and it is a small 8x6 Copic marker and gel pen illustration of a coastal town. Definitely out of the theme, but I wanted to add it just to show another layer of my technical skill with perspective. It is in a way nostalgic in itself, kind of the colors of youth and childhood, and this is not even a place that I've visited in real life. It was just from a reference photo, but I wanted to include it in the mix. This next one I also do not have in my possession, but it is the biggest piece in my portfolio at 30 by 15 inches, and it is mainly with acrylic paint, and I experimented with tissue paper and string to create the effect of hot air balloons. And I really liked how the paper mache turned out because it really added a layer of realism and depth. This one was definitely inspired by the BTS album, The Most Beautiful Moments in Life, because I think just the motif of hot air balloons really captures kind of a youthful whimsiness. Is whimsiness a word? Of childhood and exploration and adventure. This next one is a 9 by 12 mixed media once again, but mostly just watercolor, gel pen, and brush pen, and it is titled Life Goes On, heavily inspired by BTS's music video Life Goes On, which came out in 2020 and definitely got me through a lot of the COVID quarantine isolation months. And this one is yet again of Taehyung from BTS with his little dog Yeontan. I focused mainly on the wet pavement and the texture of the bike reflecting in the wet pavement. I wanted to convey a sense of freedom and having the crisp wind breeze flowing through your hair as you ride a bike. I think I just wanted to create a sense of freedom that I did not have back in 2020. So this next one is titled Web of Memories, and it's a pretty small 9 by 12 completely colored pencil and gel pen. This one is definitely one of my favorites just because of the level of detail that went into this one, and it is also very personal because I tried to include aspects of what I saw as childhood and nostalgia. In the middle is one of my childhood bedroom clocks that stopped working after a long time, but I kept because it was just super precious to me. I ended up turning it into kind of like a spider web to show how all of these memories intertwine in a way that is special to each of us, and mainly just wanted to showcase more of my technical skills and ability to create pretty realistic illustrations with colored pencil. The next one, which is an 11 by 9 mixed media titled Glorious Galaxy. As you can tell, this is once again Taehyung from BTS. I didn't even realize how many of him I had in this portfolio, but at least I chose different facial perspectives and expressions. I wanted to convey a more exhilarating part of growing up, which is that our world starts off pretty small and very simple, and then as we start growing up, our worldview expands a lot, and that is conveyed in the way that the space transforms into kind of an uncontained nebula of millions of stars and clouds. And the subject is looking up in awe of all of the amazing possibilities that can unfold as we grow up and venture into the unknown. And speaking of the unknown, this next one I don't have in my possession, sadly, but it is because I submitted it for one of the art contests at UCLA where I went to college, and thankfully it won first place. So it no longer belongs to me, it belongs to UCLA now. It is a 9 by 12 watercolor and ink medium titled Carousel. So in this one, I wanted to convey the liberation we feel as we grow up, and whenever I think of a merry-go-round or a carousel, I get struck by a sense of nostalgia. And so I used light faded colors to create a dreamy mood, and the peach-colored clouds progress into a more cool blue to illustrate how the future often seems more gloomy and mysterious than our childhood days. In the flow of the painting, the horses on the right side are embellished with heavy outlines and excessive mark making, as well as accessories and merry-go-round poles, but as they gallop away across the background towards the left side, the lines become sparser and their accessories fade away as they break free from the carousel's confines and run onto their own path without reins or saddles. This next one is a 12 by 9 mixed media, once again titled Blessed Rain, and this one is definitely one of my favorites just because of how well the colors turned out together. I basically used the leftover acrylic paint from Creation, and I basically painted these flakes onto a trash bag, which then I was able to peel off and add to this piece. It was kind of to show the process of creativity where we intake all of this inspiration and magic into our senses, and then we transmute it into our own art and give it back to the world. Creativity is such a reciprocal process that is continuously moving and transforming into new things. And finally, the last piece in my portfolio is a 12 by 13 mixed media titled Sublimity. This is supposed to be a portrait of Heesung from ENHYPEN, who is now known as Evan. I really focused on the skin color and experimenting with different undertones of the skin and almost mirroring the iridescence of the clothing. I added fruit, I guess, as a symbol of fruitiness and a balance of femininity and masculinity. The background is kind of just a symphony of different colors and shades that are blending together. I added these holographic stars as well to increase the depth and just wanted to have fun with it. And I wanted to end the portfolio with kind of a bang, so this is why this one is the final one. So these were the 15 pieces for the sustained investigation, and technically you have to submit 5 more for the selected works. In this case, I just chose 5 from the sustained investigation, which you are allowed to do because I was not about to make 5 more pieces. So I basically chose the top 5 best pieces from the whole portfolio, which happened to be these ones, and it was mainly the best representation of my skills and my theme. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're taking one of the AP art exams soon, or just building a portfolio for yourself, please feel free to comment what themes you want to explore and follow along to make sure that you don't miss my next video on specific tips for getting a top score on the AP exam.